First Lady to be a judge, and just first of all reading the essays and subsequently meeting most of the children that participated was a wake-up call for me particularly, because I saw in them the inclusiveness that is needed in bringing a project like this to fruition. Because when we did the final analysis, meeting and talking to the kids, some of them came with their parents to Abeokuta, some came with their teachers, some came with their uncles and aunties, and the fact that the family became involved in this whole green education project was awesome for me. And because you are having this whole advocacy extended not just to families, to communities. And the level of participation that we noticed was something I think will plant this whole project on a very sustainable infrastructure, because like the First Lady just mentioned, if we do just the way a local thing without taking it to the whole nation, because people came even from the war-torn areas of the country, Adamawa, people came all the way to Abeokuta, and I can see the effect that the whole essay competition is having. So for me, that was something to take home.
Okay.
You know,
it would be good to talk to you about your activism in the area of environmental issues, but we'll come to that in just a moment. But Kunle, talk us through the process. Last year was a very interesting one. What was it like for this process, for the Green Essay Competition this year?
Very interesting. The students were asked to do the competition online, and I found that very interesting. They had to download the book from the internet and then read the book and then write their essays.
How challenging was it for them to
very
download the books? Because I know
it helps me to see, you know, the need for us to become a more, should I say, internet-focused society, if I may put it that way. Many of the kids struggled, you know, to get the book downloaded, and going through that process of learning and enduring the pains of downloading from the internet was very good for them, you know. Eventually they did. Some parents called to ask for help to do that, and they got the help, and they eventually did. Then they wrote the essays and then sent the essays via email. The whole idea was, let's reduce paper, you know, moving around. It's a green essay competition. Why do you want to send books to thousands of students? Why can't they download and then send via email? So they did via email. And when the essay submissions were sent, they were sent to the judges, who then looked at the submissions, assessed, and then scored. But the question is, what if somebody got an uncle or an aunt or a teacher to write? What do you do? How do you solve that problem? So after the judges thoroughly went through the shortlisting process, they asked the finalists to meet at Abeokuta. So 40 of the best met at Abeokuta.
40?
Yes.
Okay.
Wow, that's impressive.
And each one had to rewrite an essay and then meet with the judges one-on-one. So that made the whole shortlisting process very thorough, you know, because if you sent an essay initially that was good, you have to sit down and write an equally good essay, you know. And the topics were not given to them before the day. You know, sit down, get your pen, get your paper. Here's the topic. Start to write.
Did they know they were going to do that when they?
They knew they were going to write an essay, but they didn't know
What the topic was.
going to be.
So
Yes.
who eventually emerged a
So
winner or
eventually
winners?
12 of them emerged as winners. After the judges went through the first essays submitted initially, the essays written on D-Day, and then the one-on-one discussion with each of the candidates. So eventually 12 of them were picked.
Okay, let me ask the wife of the governor of Ogun State. Now, this has come to this point. What do you want to see happen to those who have won, and how do you expect to take this forward?
Those that have won, well, when the competition was announced, we said to everybody that whoever emerges as the winner would be going on a green-friendly, should I put it that way, excursion to Europe. So those that have emerged, the 12 that have emerged, would actually be going to Denmark. We were hoping that they would go this year, but due to the late resumption, we've put heads together, and we've realized that the best time for them to go would be Easter, because half term has been shortened. The Christmas period is a period where families bond,
yes.
and the next visible holiday would be the Easter holiday. So they'll be going to Denmark, whereby they'll be exposed to various green projects, recycling, effects of climate change. They'll be visiting various factories. They'll be they'll be involved in a lot of green projects. They'll be taken through the process. They'll be made to realize how little green lifestyle changes that they adapt would help within their community. So what we intend to see, or what we expect to see, is even though we've christened them as green ambassadors because they have won the competition, we want them to take the knowledge that they gain from this trip back home to their various communities, because just as Mr. Kasimu and Dr. Jibuna said, it spans across the nation. We have winners from Niger, Abuja, Adamawa. It's all across the nation. So we want them to take them back to their various communities. We want, obviously, the prize to serve as an incentive, because we're hoping that this will be a yearly competition for other people, other children, to take part in this competition. I'm laying emphasis again on the main purpose of this competition being children should gain the basics of going green. When they read the book, they understand the concept.
Can we see the book?
Yes, it's here. We're trying to get them to read the book. All these prizes of them going to Europe is to spur them to read the book so that they learn the basics of going green and understand what they need to do to sustain the environment, to protect it from further degradation. And they're just little things that people can do at home that you and I are guilty of. We're very wasteful. We have leftover food. We don't know what to do with it. We could recycle it. We could change it into fertilizers. Just little things that children can do with no additional cost. And even the one that I love the most, the topic, even though I wrote it, is green empathy. Teaching our children not to be wasteful, such that the excesses that they save can be given to the less privileged children in the society. Think of toys. Teach your children not to vandalize their toys, so that they can keep them and donate them to the less privileged. Teach them not to be careless with their clothes, so that they can save them, and when they're done with them, they can give them to the less privileged people in the society. Because if they hadn't done that, this would end up as waste, and waste would pile up. So they're reducing waste by being responsible, by showing empathy to the less privileged people in the society.
I am very excited that you're taking it down to, the chain and bringing the children up. And today is just the best day, one of the best days to talk about it, being the day of the girl child. But I'm jealous a little bit, because I also
our generation.
Exactly. The truth is, we are very wasteful sometimes. But what can even older folks do to complement the effort of those children? Leaving your tap running while brushing, of course I'm guilty. Leaving my fridge on when I don't have anything inside, boy, what what can, and these are things, you know, we do and then you don't think about it twice. What can we do to?
Well, you've just answered the question. I mean, once the children have this information, then they sort of like plant it in your subconsciousness.
I don't have a child yet.
Oh, you must have a niece, you might have a nephew, and even if you don't,